Here's a recap of Squid Game Season 1 before you watch Season 3. The show immediately introduces us to our main character, Gi-hun. Dude's an absolute mess. He's divorced, estranged from his daughter, and he has a terrible gambling addiction. Gi-hun gets approached by a guy known as the Recruiter who offers to play a game called GOTCHU with him for a chance to win some money. But every time he loses, he gets slapped. He eventually wins, and the Recruiter invites him to play more games and win a lot more money, so naturally Gi-hun says yes. Bad idea. He gets kidnapped, and he wakes up in a facility with 455 other contestants for these games. Before game number 1, Gi-hun forms an alliance with a few people. Sang-woo, who's actually a friend from his childhood, and an old man named Il-nam, who wears the number 1 and who we later learn is terminally ill. Then there's Se-byeok, who actually mugged Gi-hun back at home because she wants to provide for her orphaned brother. Game 1 ends up being red light, green light. Seems pretty easy, except you get shot if you lose, so that sucks. There ends up being mass panic and a whole lot of people get shot, but Gi-hun and his crew survive. Oh, and every time a player gets eliminated, more money gets added to the pot. After the first game, players get to vote on if they want to continue or not, and they vote to stop the games and go back to their miserable lives. Back at home, Gi-hun tries to tell the police about everything, but they think he's a psychopath, except for this detective named Jun-ho, because his brother went missing a long time ago and he received the same invite Gi-hun did, so now he's going to investigate. Eventually, all the contestants realize their lives still suck and they go back to the games. Jun-ho manages to sneak in as a guard, and he discovers that the games are being held on a remote island and that they've been going on for decades. And plot twist, he learns that his missing brother actually won one of the games. So Jun-ho captures one of the VIPs, a demented rich white man who bets on these games for entertainment. He records a confession from him and tries to escape, but he gets caught by some other guards and a man in a mask known as the front man, who, plot twist again, turns out to be Jun-ho's long-lost brother. He tries to recruit Jun-ho. Jun-ho says no, so he shoots him. Back to the games, we meet a man named Ali who joins Gi-hun's alliance, and in game number 2, players have to perfectly cut out a shape from a fragile cookie, and players with subpar shapes get hashtagged, but Gi-hun and his crew move on. Speaking of hashtagging someone, this douchebag named GOTCHU gets in a fight and he kills a man, and when the guards don't do anything, he realizes he can just do this to other people to give himself a better chance to win. So he forms his own alliance, which includes this crazy lady Minyo, and they decide to run the fate on everyone in the facility. But Gi-hun and his crew survive again, because, you know, plot armor. Now game number 3 is tug of war, where the losing team falls off a ledge to their death, and it turns out Il-nam is 200 IQ when it comes to tug of war, so the good guys survive in advance. Game number 4 is absolutely devastating to watch. It requires players to pair up with each other. Gi-hun pairs with the old man, and Sang-woo's with Ali, and they each have a bag of marbles, and they learn that one player must have the other player's marbles by the end of the allotted time, and the player without marbles gets executed. Gi-hun and Sang-woo both trick their partners into getting marbles, but Gi-hun feels bad about it, and he confesses what he did to Il-nam, but Il-nam says they're besties and it's okay. Now in game number 5, players have to cross over a glass panel bridge to get to the other side, and some of the panels are extremely weak and give out under a person's weight. The game takes out a lot of players, including Minyo, and she brings down GOTCHU with her, and Sang-woo shows his true colors when he shoves the player in front of him to help cross the bridge. And now with only Sang-woo, Gi-hun, and Se-byeok remaining, Sang-woo decides to shank Se-byeok, leaving only him and Gi-hun. And the last game is Squid Game, which was played by Gi-hun and Sang-woo as kids. Gi-hun ends up defeating Sang-woo and wins the money, but when he returns home, he doesn't spend any of it because he's absolutely traumatized by everything that's happened. He then receives an invitation to meet with a mysterious person who, plot twist, turns out to be the player number 1, Il-nam, who we learned was never actually executed after game number 4. And plot twist again, he's the original creator of the games, which he made as a way to entertain the rich and elite. He ends up passing away from his terminal illness, and Gi-hun decides to unite Se-byeok's orphan brother with Sang-woo's mother, who's devastated by the loss of her son, and he gives them some of his winnings to make sure that they're both taken care of. And Gi-hun decides to go reunite with his daughter. But as he's on his way, he sees someone being recruited to the games in the same way that he was, and the season ends with Gi-hun deciding instead to try to stop the games once and for all.